Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Capricorn. Alright, my lovely Capricorns, we are going to review your week, right? It's going to be the week of November 17th to the 23rd. And this is going to be a general reading for you lovely Capricorns. And if you're a regular on my channel, you know the drill. We're going to pull out 5 romance angel messages, followed by 5 animal spirits to see what kind of individuals or characters you may be dealing with or energies you're resonating with. And then we'll get into your traditional spread. All right? And I do thank you all for coming by to this video, whether you are subscribed or not. I know that actually most of my views come from people who are just browsing, who are not subscribed. And so in that way, I just really want to thank all of you who have just taken your time to stop and check it out. All right, guys. Stay optimistic about your love life. Interesting. We have Flirt. Flirt came out earlier for Sagittarius. And Deception. Deception also came out for Sagittarius. Flirt came out for Sagittarius on the Friday night date night. I did a Friday night date night reading this week. You can go ahead and check it out if you like it. Look back, and see, You can always check and see if the date actually turned out the way some of the forecasts indicated. And if you like that series, let me know and I will begin to start doing them again for Fridays. All right, guys. Let's get right into pulling out your animal spirits. So you have 3 different kind of energies or messages from the romance angels. Stay optimistic about your love life, flirt, and deception. So we won't really know what that means so much for you this week, Capricorn, until we actually get into your traditional spread. But in the meantime, we're going to pull some animal spirits, and animal spirits are really good to pull to find out a little bit or get a little deeper clarity on what kind of energies are resonating around you this week or that you may be tapping into this week. And they can also really be representative of the type of people you're coming across this week, right? And so in this way, pulling animal spirits can be quite helpful. And of course, just take what resonates with you. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. All right, Capricorn. Your first animal spirit for the week is the lizard, fire animal. That symbol at the top, the right side up triangle, is the alchemical symbol for fire. And then we have the otter. Oh, the otter is so sweet and beautiful. Water energy. And the owl. Air energy, beautiful. Omen and bringer of abundance and wisdom. So let's just get into these animal spirits briefly before we carry on. The lizard. The lizard is a fire elemental animal, and the lizard is the king, the master of the senses, right? The lizard is hyper sensitive or hyper aware. Almost to a 6th sense degree, right? The lizard can almost see things happening before they happen and hear things coming in before they come in. And so extrasensory perception is the lizard's sort of forte, right? And what can happen oftentimes, being a fire element, sometimes when, if you're resonating with this energy, what can happen is that if you are one of these people who are very hypersensitive, who do have extrasensory gifts or abilities, right, and they're becoming oversensitized, the lizard can become very sort of worn out, frazzled, right? Too much is coming in, and it becomes very chaotic, very overheated, very frazzled, very confused, right? Energy. So this is what can happen with lizards. So oftentimes when the lizard comes in, it's usually a card to let us know that you may be resonating a little bit too much with this energy, or you may be allowing too much information to come in, because you may be wearing yourself out a little bit, but it can also just indicate a heightened level of extrasensory perception. And so, of course, when the lizard is in balance, we're talking about a high degree of clairvoyance, the ability to kind of really see things coming in just before they come in. Okay, and that is something that you may be resonating with right now and may be helping you to make certain decisions. Again, just watch for the flip side or the out of balance side of lizard. And if that's the case, just pull away for a little while and take a break so you can sort of recalibrate yourself, as it were. The otter is water energy. The otter is so beautiful and sweet and lovable. The otter is associated with bliss. Bliss in relationships. If you can see, the otter is in this kind of round focus. That really, to me, speaks to the fact that the otter focuses on his love connection 100%, right? And not only that, he has faith in it 100%. He's not sort of distracted by any sort of like feelings of jealousy, doubt, worry, anxiety, ego issues, worrying about the next person or having self-esteem issues. The otter absolutely just enjoys every second that they are with their loved ones or their lover in particular. And it's really a blissful time because they don't allow any of those fears to come in. And so they're very, very focused on their love. Right? Even in the wild, the otters are very affectionate. They are very physically affectionate. They cuddle with each other. They mate for life. It's just a very blissful time. And that's really, really nice, Capricorn. Some of you may, of course, be resonating with that. You may be resonating with a lover who's coming through like that. It's really nice energy. Now, the owl is air element. And the owl, of course, is synonymous worldwide with abundance, wisdom coming in. Right? Abundance and wisdom, but in a way of blessings, right? The owl is also the companion animal to Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of beauty and rewards and blessing, of wisdom, of art, right? The owl is just such a strong omen symbol, right? Such a strong omen animal spirit. And the owl generally is an animal spirit that brings things into us, right? It isn't so much that you resonate with the owl energy, but it's more that this is an energy that is resonating around you. The spirit of the owl is here in your life in a sense that your life is bringing in a lot of rewards. And the wisdom is really, and the rewards can be spiritual as well. They can be financial or spiritual rewards. These are the two types of rewards that the owl brings with it. So oftentimes it can be a lot of money coming in or finances or abundance along with a great spiritual epiphany. But the wisdom that the owl brings also comes with it. So oftentimes this is the type of blessing that you also are very wise and careful and thankful with. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like somebody throws a lottery ticket and you're like, woohoo. The owl brings in a sense of really of abundance and blessings coming in, but in a very mature, responsible, grateful, and wise way, if you know what I mean. And you're absolutely ready. You know what to do with it, right? Very nice indeed. And also the owl generally brings blessings and rewards to people who have been working very long on a particular path, right? It's a blessing that the owl brings, right? And it's a blessing in the sense that, you've done so much hard work, a reward, as it were, Very, very nice. All right, so we're going to pull out anywhere from 4 to 8 3-card spreads for you, Capricorn, just to see what kind of scenarios you may or may not be resonating with this week. And again, just take what applies to you and disregard the rest. And let's get right into it. All right. Sun energy, Hierophant, and the Ace of Wands. All right. So some of you are certainly coming in this week with a lot of clarity, right? And a lot of reaffirmation. The sun is shining on you. So this week is starting out very good for you. It's starting out like just favoring you. You feel really good. You feel positive. Everything is working out the way it should, right? You feel like you're having your day in the sun, okay? The sun just brings such a warm feeling. It just feels, it's just this really nice feeling of happiness that comes in, confidence that comes in. And you feel very much in the moment with the sun energy. Of course, sun also always brings clarity after that period of being in moon energy, right? Because the moon, of course, is 18, the sun is 19. And so you come into the week with this, you met with the Hierophant, and I'm going to say it's really quite nice. You're met with, because the Hierophant is representative of our spiritual path, our spiritual belief and center, a sense of commitment. Hierophant can also sometimes indicate a teacher coming into your life. And so some of you this week are really getting into a spiritual path. It could be a spiritual blessing that comes in the form of a teacher or a teaching. And this kind of impact that it has on you, and I definitely feel this is a result of owl energy and probably maybe a little bit of lizard energy, in the sense that you may be resonating higher with a little bit of intuition and a little sense of feeling and hearing the spirit a little bit, you know, resonating with it. And so that's a reaffirmation that you're kind of like onto something, or that you may be onto an impending epiphany that's about to come. In any case, it feels very, very sort of nice, and it feels like a blessing, and you end the week with the Ace of Wands, in the sense that a whole new idea comes in. I think this is going to be very much a case of you feeling really good in yourself this week, Capricorn, and having some kind of creative epiphany that comes in as a result of you like sort of going down a spiritual path in some way. Now, you could be going to an event that's spiritually inclined. You could be going to a class, you know, that's spiritually inclined, or a yoga class or a Reiki class. Or you could just be going someplace that has an effect on you in that way, right? You could be going to visit a castle or a church or something, or going someplace, and it has this kind of sudden kind of spiritual effect on you, right? These are examples of blessings that come in. That's a spiritual blessing. An awakening, or a feeling of being awakened to something, or having your eyes open to a particular wonder or a particular spiritual path. That is an example of a spiritual blessing. And with that lizard energy and that opening up of your extrasensory perception. So I feel very much, Capricorn, that some of you may be having that kind of experience, because what comes out of it is Ace of Wands, and this feeling of, you know, a whole new sort of fountain of creativity has opened up inside of you. A whole new path of something that you want to follow and pursue as a result of the spiritual sort of inspiration that has come in for you this week. Very, very strong energy here. Very nice. Page, and this is an example, before I go on, this is an example now of some of these blessings and good events coming in now that I said will begin to happen towards the end of November. And I'm going to begin to work on the December readings right away when I'm done with the weeklies, because the energies coming into December are going to be so strong. Page of Wands, Seven of Swords, and the World. All right, well, you know what that is. Page of Wands, you already see it, you feel it, you know that you have overcome your fear, and you are ready to start a new path, or you have just begun, some of you Capricorns, to get the idea of a new creative endeavor that you might be on, or a goal that you'd like to pursue. It's just the beginning of it. You're just beginning to sort of get over the fear of thinking that you can't do it, and you're starting to investigate it and really think about it. Your ambition is increasing, and you're coming into this week with this really nice new feeling of starting something new that's really important to you. You're met with a Seven of Swords. Now, Seven of Swords is the great dream thief, right? This is my tortoise and a hare card. Seven of Swords is a very specific kind of toxic energy. Seven is the number for dreams and aspirations. And with Seven of Swords, we find an individual, or we find the energy of this energy of wanting a dream, wanting something really, really badly, but being unwilling to work for it, or being too lazy to work for it, or not really seeing the point in working for it. And so, and also, oftentimes, this card is associated with treachery and thievery, right? Because you can see the person is sneaking away with Five of the Seven Swords. But this is also the tortoise and the hare story, in a sense that, you know, that story of the tortoise and the hare, where the tortoise ultimately wins the race, and the hare, which should have won, the fast, big, giant hare, rabbit, should have won, but he's constantly cutting corners. He constantly thinks that he can get ahead by cheating or cutting corners or being lazy, because he inherently feels as though he's automatically better than a tortoise. He just feels like he's better than a tortoise, so he doesn't feel like he has to do the work to win the race. And then what ends up happening, everything that he tries, he fails at, and he ultimately doesn't win the race. He loses. And in this way, Seven of Swords is also the card for futility. All right? It's the card for futility because deep down inside, the essence of the card is someone who simply wants to covet other people's dreams or other people's goals, and doesn't want to work for them themselves. And in this way, nothing they ever do works, you know? You know, if you don't come into a situation with a real sense of work and doing it the right way, methodically, as the tortoise does in the race, he just methodically works towards the finish line, then your efforts will always be futile, and they will never really work. And people who are always kind of saying, well, I don't understand why this is still not working for me, well, oftentimes it's because they really are unwilling to change and make the right effort. They still want to make they don't realize that their effort that they're making is half-assed. It's a bullshit effort, you know. And so things don't work out. And this is the card for futility. Oftentimes, this is also a close friend who covets your dreams. Like I say, these individuals always want what somebody else has. It isn't even that they find something they want and they take it, which is a gross oversimplification. But these type of individuals generally are people who always want what somebody else has, and usually somebody close to them, like a friend or someone that they look up to. And I took a minute to explain this because this is the energy you met with, Capricorn, and somebody in your life has this very toxic energy around you. And the nature of Seven of Swords is that oftentimes you don't know who that is, but I can tell you this much: it's somebody close to you, because that's the nature of the card. The essence of the card is that this, like I said, that's why I got into explaining it a little bit deeper so you can see what I mean. This is someone, you know, in order for someone to really want what you have, to want to covet it in that way, they would have to be around you a lot. They would have to know you, because part of what they're coveting is also your self-esteem. They feel as if they take what you have or take your dreams from you, they can also take your strength or take your self-esteem and raise their own. Of course, it doesn't work, because it's the card for futility, and that kind of nonsense doesn't work. It's toxic energy. Nevertheless, these will be people who are generally very close to you, who are friends of yours. And they're going to be the people that you least expect, because usually they're the ones who, in the face of it all, are bigging you up the most. Take care with that, Capricorn. But you end the week with world energy, and world energy talks about everything really coming in your favor. And I think for a lot of you, this lizard energy is working out for you because you're hyper-aware, hypersensitive, and you find out about all of this and deal with it this week. Three of Wands, Nine of Wands, Eight of Swords. Shit. More toxic energy. Remember, deception is here. And with the lizard energy of being highly sort of sensitive, right? Having that extra sensory perception heightened, you're really waking up to a lot of this stuff, and you're going to clear this shit out just in time for December. This week, you're being forced to slow down. Three of Wands. Very, very interesting. Three of Wands always shows up when life is forcing you to slow down because something needs to catch up with you, or there's some information that you need to know before you make your next step. Things need to develop naturally, because if you move forward without finding this out or without having a certain thing come into your life, you won't be moving forward correctly. So some of you Capricorns are being forced to slow down and take a moment. Three of Wands is the card for patience and virtue. Remember. So, and 3 is the number for patience. So you're met with the Nine of Wands, which is quite interesting. You come into, something happens this week, and you wake up to a situation where you're starting to you're met with a feeling of realizing that, oh shit, you know what? I've really been through a lot with someone, right? You start to look back on a particular scenario. It could be that something happens with someone and there's some kind of information that comes in, or some kind of event that happens, or a conversation that happens with someone that gets you to begin to look at where you have come from. right? Everything you've had to put up with until now. I could say, Capricorn, that some of you have been very, very busy working away on some goal or ambition. And this week you've been forced to slow down and really take a look back at something or some stage of this whole kind of journey. And you're starting to realize that, oh my God, I've been carrying a lot of shit around with me. And something comes out to the open, right? You end the week with an 8 of Swords, which is really interesting. You end the week with this energy of 8 of Swords is a really toxic energy. It's that energy of being gaslighted. It's the victim energy. I think, Capricorn, you know, I don't want to say that this is you resonating with this, right? Because your animal spirits are really nice and strong, okay? But what I will say is that you end the week realizing that somebody is very, very toxic. Somebody in your life is very, very toxic, and they have been the source of a lot of this injury, burden, and trial and tribulation you've been through. And I think that you really haven't had a chance to realize that until you were forced to slow down and look at what's going on. Right? And you wake up to the fact that somebody has been gaslighting you. Somebody has been playing the victim, which is 8 of Swords energy right there. And how you deal with that, I'm going to tell you now. Get rid of it. 7 of Cups, King of Pentacles, and Judgment. I'm going to end on this because Judgment has been coming through all week. And so 7 of Cups, yeah, you enter this week with 7 of Cups, right? Interesting. 7 of Cups talks about very wishful thinking, pie in the sky. You're thinking, you know, sometimes it can be very unrealistic, 7 of Cups. You know what you're dreaming. It's really daydreaming, dreaming about the impossible. But sometimes we can get really caught up in it. 7 is the number for hopes and dreams. So with 7 of Cups, we're really swept up in our emotions, Cups being our emotions, and our emotions of wanting a particular dream. You see what I'm saying? And so this is where daydreaming comes from. That's why we call it daydreaming. It's like purposely losing yourself in a dream of what you wish life to be like. But oftentimes these dreams are unrealistic, or oftentimes the 7 of Cups energy can be this feeling of spending too much time in your head and not really spending enough time on the ground manifesting real goals, right? So some of you be careful, you know. You may have your head up in the clouds a little bit too much this week. You may be coming into this week with this kind of idea about a particular scenario, and it's just like, you know, you're going to hit the ground at some point. So, you know, because this is often 7 of Cups is definitely dreaming about things that are unrealistic and that are not really based on the reality of the way those relationships or whatever those scenarios are. So you come in a little bit this week with this kind of, you know, pie in the sky thinking, and it's not bad, but it is, you know, it's something to watch out for. And you're met with the King of Pentacles, which is someone who very quickly brings you right down to the ground. It could be a family member. It could be a relative or someone. I feel like this is someone who may even be a little bit older than you, someone who has a lot of money. They may be your benefactor. They may be somebody who's been supporting you for quite some time, Capricorn. And they come in with this very, you know, very practical, like, boom, this is, no. And I think they bring you right back down to the ground, Capricorn, because with this Judgment comes in, and Judgment is forgiveness, and Judgment is beginning to see situations from all sides, learning empathy and learning forgiveness and letting go of guilt. This is really associated with Judgment. You know, when we begin to lay our own sins bare and realize that, you know, we are all just human and we all make mistakes, right? There's a sense of forgiving yourself. And then once you begin to forgive yourself, you begin to forgive others. And that's where compassion and empathy comes from, right? And this is all associated with the energy of the Judgment card coming in. Of course, it's 20, you know, it's that final sort of judgment. It's the final next, you know, second to the last final card, you know. So it's like really, you know, it's, of course, letting go of everything and letting go of guilt is one of those final steps to really having wholeness, right? Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to say this could very well be just a scenario with business where you may have been over sort of over imagining what it could all be. But that's not to say that all your dreams, that dreams can't come true, or that your dreams won't come true. This is really just more of a case of being brought back down to the ground, and also dealing with some issues perhaps here with, I want to say, with a particular scenario that you may have been taking on a little bit too much guilt. You may have been over sort of, I want to say, compensating in this scenario because of another scenario that happened, which you felt maybe a little bit guilty about, or something like that. It could have been that you promised somebody something really big before and it didn't come through. And so now you're kind of promising something even bigger, and you're realizing this is with this King of Pentacles coming in, you're being brought down to the ground. But you also end this week with a lot of forgiveness and release, and it's going to allow you to move forward in a more healthy way, certainly, in a more practical way, right? This could be a blessing of wisdom that comes in. And take it with love, right? We have all had 7 of Cups situations, but this to me feels very much like the scenario ends up with you learning something really important. And certainly, if a blessing of wisdom comes in, it doesn't come in easily, right? Wisdom comes in after a fall. So you have to have, some kind of, energy that you're trying to overcome, that is within you, that you're trying to transmute into something better. And then the wisdom comes in. All right, Capricorn, this is your reading for November 17th to the 23rd. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. My voice is back a little bit, and we'll see how long it lasts before I start having to whisper and talk very quietly. But for right now, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to check the links at the top of the description. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about these videos in the comments, which I do reply to. But for right now, Capricorn, have a wonderful week. Bye-bye now.